we were sure about what these teams are going to do.
Kind of the trajectory of where this season could potentially go.
Love for Maui?
Yeah, I'm going to go back and brew it.
Back!
We have no idea who Michigan is, who Notre Dame is.
Cardell Jones. I'm not here to play school.
20 years from now, I'll be right here on a bar ladder because this thing is like legit.
Well, this is your favorite podcast. There is no doubt about that. This is the Varsity Brews podcast brought to you by our good friends at WestWind Brewery, Rustic Rocks, and Legacy Performance, something that every day, guys, I am getting into. This Legacy Performance, gains with a capital Z. On today's podcast, we're going to talk about Notre Dame football.
Oh boy. Might get old.
You know how they say Irish eyes are smiling? Evan's eyes are smiling today. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, I was going to say, I told you so. I told you so.
Could it be a 2-in-a-row surprise for Notre Dame? Let's talk about that coming up here in a bit. Michigan versus Arkansas State. Do they get back in the win? Yeah, he's hiding his face. Do they get back in the win column? Wisconsin against Alabama this weekend at Camp Randall. I'm stoked about that. The Detroit Lions, are they Super Bowl bound? We talk about that. And the NFC North in general, guys. I mean, we're going to get your thoughts on the NFC North. All but the Cheeseheads winning this weekend. And my quarterback, which I told you about, I'm not sold on my quarterback. He's out for 4 weeks. And do the Chiefs do it again? That's all coming up here on the Varsity Brews podcast. Let's start with the obvious, probably one of the biggest upsets in the last, when did Appalachian State play Michigan? When was that game?
I don't remember.
He forgets that
Yeah,
time.
I have amnesia.
Well, you should remember that because that win looks way better for Appalachian State now that Notre Dame, essentially
People still
crap
talk
the
about
bed.
that today.
Oh, for sure.
People still talk about it, but guess what? Now we got something else to talk about.
I bet it makes you happy, buddy. I bet it makes you happy.
I wasn't happy to see the Irish lose because I don't know. They should have won that game. It was a disgrace. I know we're going to talk about it, but
So Evan, the question I've been getting all week is why? What was it? Like when you boil it down to that sort of loss, is it blame the offense? Is it blame Riley Leonard? Is it blame the defense? Is it blame the coaches? Like, Marcus talks about examine everything, question everything. What is it in your mind?
Well, I mean, the buck stops with the coach. I'm not saying that he's the full person to blame here, but he's the head coach. So, if you come out and lay an egg like that, that's where the finger needs to be pointed. Well, you can talk about the Jimmies and Joes all day, which is accurate because, offense did not play well. I still think the defense played well enough and has now for 8 quarters for them to be 2-0. If you remember going into the season here, my biggest red flags is the offense going to be able to score enough? And it's now, 6 quarters without a throwing touchdown pass? Right? So it was the perfect storm, really, of Notre Dame not matching the intensity, coming out flat. In our group text, Aaron brought up trap games, and I guarantee you that was discussed all week. But you come off of an emotional win to open up the season on the road. No one really expected you to win that game. And then you come home for the home opener. What you would think would happen, though, is it's the home opener. So you're gonna have some of that juice early, and you're gonna be able to match the intensity. But it had that feel from the beginning of the game. And I actually talked to a buddy of mine who's a Notre Dame fan. He was watching the game up till halftime, and he took his son, and they left the house to go eat. His son's like, "What are you doing? It's only halftime." He goes, "I've been watching Notre Dame football games for 25 years, and I already know what's going to happen."
jeez.
Didn't watch the second half. And it just seems to be that there's always 1 or 2 of those games every year. Louisville last year, Ball State a few years ago too, where Notre Dame just kind of lets the team hang around, and there's missed opportunities. And if you let a team hang around long enough, these are all Division I football players, which means they were pretty dang good in high school to even get recruited. Enough plays and string enough plays together, you're going to put yourself in a position to win the football game. That's what Northern Illinois did. So, to point at one thing, it's a collection of a lot. Certainly, I think, the red flags that we discussed to start leading up to the season, where my eyes were all on the offense. They're going to be able to control the line of scrimmage. They didn't. Were they going to be able to run the football? No, they really didn't do that. Were they going to get consistent quarterback play from Riley Leonard? And, he wasn't pushing the ball down the field. Didn't look like he had a lot of confidence in his ability to do that. My motto in some situations, when in doubt, air it out. At least put that thought in the defense, in their mind, that you're going to take some shots down the field. And also,
Nothing past 20 yards. Nothing past 20 yards.
Mantra for the offense this year, and I think I said this a few times, was, and from Riley Leonard's perspective, is the offense doesn't need to be the reason why Notre Dame wins, but they cannot be the reason why they lose. What I mean by that is protect the football, can't turn it over, which they did, right? It's a huge problem. And then I think, if this team is going to bounce back and, let's say, win out and go 11-1 to finish the season, what it's going to be from this offense is they don't need to score 40 points a game. Would that be great if they started putting some 40 spots up on people? For sure. But what it is, it's going to be putting long, sustained drives together and getting points. That doesn't necessarily mean touchdowns, but if you get 8 possessions in a game, you at least need to kick 8 field goals. Because the way this defense is playing is you're going to get opportunities to score the football, but they're also going to limit the opposing team's ability to score touchdowns. We've seen that in 2 games so far. You're putting a lot of responsibility on this Notre Dame defense to play really perfect football for 12 football games. And that's tough. Where do you go from here? I think going on the road is a positive. Nobody wanted to be on campus this week, I'm sure. Nobody, right? But to follow it up with another home game, I think it's a positive. It's a business trip. You're on the bus, you're getting tight with the team. But there has to be a lot of looking in the mirror this week and what can I do better to make sure that doesn't happen again. My mind, this counts as 2 losses for Notre Dame. They would have been better off losing to Texas A&M on the road than losing to Northern Illinois at home. So I think that their chances now in making the college football playoff are slim to none. They are going to need a tremendous amount of help. They're going to need other teams to have really good seasons. Texas A&M, they're going to need to have a good season. I don't think that's going to happen, to be quite honest.
They're going to need NIU to win out.
And they're going to need USC to, I don't know, can they go undefeated leading up to Notre Dame? It'd be tough. They're a sneaky team for me, but we'll see. So, the state right now, it's always funny, Riley Leonard's everyone's called him the second coming of Jesus Christ in week 1, and now in week 2, it's let's bench him. So let's pump the brakes on that. But, given the potential injury and how that looks, are we going to see somebody? I think if the offense comes out stagnant, I'm not a big proponent of a 2-quarterback system, but I live that life, and sometimes you have to inject a little bit a different personality or excitement into the offense to get things rolling, and maybe that's what we see. But I hate to use a cliche, this is a coming to Jesus week for Notre Dame football, because now, we talked preseason. This looked like a cupcake schedule post Texas A&M, and now you're on alert every week after losing NIU.
Well, two things really concern me here after this week. Number one, first and foremost, how can your offense not score 17 points at home against Northern Illinois. I don't care if they had 38 seniors, 40 seniors, whatever it is. How do you not score 17 points at home? It's your home opener. How are you? Huh?
Words. Not prepared.
Yes, I agree. I don't think they were.
They weren't
I
prepared.
don't think that it wasn't even the fact that it's a trap game. I just don't think they were prepared for that team. I just think whatever the
Majority of
trap
preparation
means
during fall camp and probably then
is Texas A&M, right? So the other thing that really concerns me, and this is a huge concern, and I've talked at length about this week, other places. This is not the first time this has happened in the Freeman era. This has happened 2 other times. It happened at home against Marshall, if you remember, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was brutal.
I do remember.
I was at that game.
And
Had the same feel from the opening kick.
So my question is, how do you not learn from that? I mean, I think the biggest thing in my mind that sticks out, and this is from talking to a former player of Lou Holtz last weekend, who said the biggest thing Lou Holtz did was instill fear in players. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. Well, I'm not going to talk like Lou, okay? But it doesn't matter who the opponent is.
Interpretation.
I don't know if I have a Lou impersonation, but it doesn't matter who the opponent is. He would always say, listen, they can always beat you at any time. And so they beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. Evan, you said it, and I've given you flowers all week long. I've said Evan knows football. He came into the season preaching, watch, this team is not going to be better than last year. What did they improve? At this point, is Sam Hartman looking like a better quarterback than Riley Leonard?
I don't think so.
And so I'm just concerned as to, number one, why is this happening again in the Freeman era? Because it happened twice before. They're the same players that were on the field for Marshall that were on the field this time around. Xavier Watts, Benjamin Morrison, go on and on. And then how is your offense that you prepared all offseason for not scoring 17 points at home to get the win? I think the defense is actually playing really well. Never mind the last drive to whatever. If you can't score 17 points, that's just my opinion on it, you're not going to get it done. I mean, it's a simple fact as like, hey, Michigan. Michigan didn't do enough defensively to get it done. They ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, so my point is, if you're not doing enough to get it done and you're stacked as a team that can get it done, then what's going on? What is the thing that's not vibing right now? And that has me concerned for this weekend, because what Notre Dame team are we going to get? Are we going to get the Notre Dame team that causes 2 or 3 turnovers, controls the game from the get-go, they can use the running attack? Or are we going to get a one-dimensional quarterback that tucks it too soon, runs to the sideline? Teams are starting to figure that out. He is trigger shy, throwing it downfield more than 20 yards. We don't have a passing touchdown. We're one of 5 teams in the nation with no passing touchdowns this season.
Gary. So I've got a couple of things to touch on with that. First off, to Brian Kelly's fault, he didn't lose too many of these types of games. Couldn't win the big ones. But if you look over the course of his tenure at Notre Dame, usually took care of business against the teams that they should have beat. Sometimes came out flat, but still won. Okay. You bring up some good points here on why you're concerned moving forward. And I'm with you on it. The tough part is you brought in a transfer quarterback. Your eggs are kind of in that basket.
I mean, if you go away from him at this point,
that's what you prepared. That's what you prepared for. If what we've seen through two games is any indication of what this offense is going to do, it isn't like there's a magic wand just to wave, and you're going to expect something new. So for me, Vahid, I love that you brought up you'd think that they'd be able to score more than 17 points. I think the magic number for Notre Dame offense is to get to 24 every game, and you should win. Now,
Should win every game.
win every game, but you're putting a huge responsibility because what you said was, can we count on those 2 turnovers from the defense? Well, if history, we look at last year, yes, but that's still a huge amount of responsibility on the defense to take the ball away from an opposing offense. Now, are they going to get stops? And are they gonna force teams to field goals? Probably, but to count on 2 or 3 turnovers per game to give your offense a short field, it's a flip of the coin.
It's hard to do that. It puts a lot of pressure on your defense.
You can't rely on that long term.
Right. It's just tough to look at. I mean, again, you're right. I don't know and made the argument, even if they do win out, I don't know if they have a tough enough schedule to rebound.
They don't.
Texas A&M's not going to win out. They're a mid-level SEC team. NIU, I mean, nobody's looking at that conference anyway, and who's coming out of that conference. So that's a non-factor. You have USC.
That's why I count this NIU loss as 2 losses. Notre Dame's 1-2. Notre Dame's 1-2 right now.
And I like Marcus. I like Marcus. I just don't know if he had any answers the other day at the press conference.
Oh,
It just.
And we're in, he's had several years as a head coach, but where the best coaches, why they get paid the amount of money they get paid is, I'll attack it from 2 angles. Is split up into quarters: first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Okay? Team comes out flat in the first quarter. You've got to make an adjustment then between the first quarter and the second quarter, whatever that is. Start eating players out. We got to raise our level of intensity. The momentum's got to change. Okay. You get to halftime. The reason why the Nick Sabans and Kirby Smarts of the world are those guys, it's halftime adjustments. You come out of the halftime. Maybe you throw whatever game plan you had, you throw it out and you completely change, because here's what happens, and I experienced this as a quarterback playing at Notre Dame, is what we would watch on film from a lot of teams sometimes wouldn't line up. They'd have a special Notre Dame, we want to beat Notre Dame, would go they'd go off script, off of the film that we watched and their tendencies. In order then, and again, I'm going to give Brian Kelly credit here. Later in his career, him and his coaching staff, they would do a nice job at coming out and putting sustained drives together in the third quarter. You look at when he had that 4-year run of 11, 12 wins, they dominated in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah,
it was like a different team. Whether it was long sustained, 10-play drives, running the football, play action passing. And I'm not saying it was all that, Vahid, right? I'm just saying is that to me seems to be that's why this happened.
But in most of those, and I will say this to add on to your point, in most of those 11 to 12 win seasons, they had balanced offensive attacks. The defense complemented the offense. They were able to throw the ball downfield with play action pass, which literally does not exist this year. Their whole offense is predicated on their quarterback making a decision to either throw it out to the flat 5 to 10 yards, maybe find a guy across the middle. Jordan Faison's not there right now. He's injured. He may come back this week. And it's predicated on him using his legs, Jeremiah Love breaking open, finding a crease. I just think they're one-dimensional right now. They're making him throw the ball, and that's what you're going to see on the film. To push the ball downfield, you got to take chances. Chris Mitchell has been targeted literally like less than 5 times this entire season. That dude has brought the heat from FAU, wherever he came from. He has speed. You have a beast that you've uncovered, Bo Collins, on the outside that can go up and get any ball. I don't think you're utilizing these guys. You're not putting them, like, who said it, Evan? Just throw the ball up. Who was that? Was that Randy Moss or
I don't know.
just throw it up? Megatron, throw it up. See what happens. Make your receiver get the ball.
Sometimes you got to it's called a 50-50. It's a 50-50 ball. Back shoulder it, depending on where the defender is. You got to sometimes take those shots versus tuck it and run. But what just came to me here too is, who this Irish offense is missing tremendously right now. If we take away, losses on the offensive line, which I think are massive. They don't have Audric.
You do think you think the offensive line is huge right now?
I think so, but they don't have Audric Estimate.
Yeah.
Don't have him.
Well, you don't have the guy that's gonna constantly pound the rock, play after play.
He's gonna fall forward, and he's gonna, a 3-yard carry is 4 yards. That adds up. To your point, if you become one-dimensional and everyone in the stadium knows you're throwing, how do you think you're tucking it and running? You have to establish the line of scrimmage. You have to be able to run the football early in the game because that sets up play-action passes, which is that intermediate to long passes. You have to do it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of impressive offenses, I'm sorry, AJ Dub.
Before you get to that, I have one quick thing. Do you guys see what NIU has in their locker room? What they put in there?
No.
You guys need to look this up. They have it's called the NIU Boneyard. And what it is, it's upset wins they've had against other teams. And they hang a bone from it. It's called the Boneyard. It's sick. The picture I saw, they had not added Notre Dame to it yet. I'm sure that'll be the center.
Yeah, that was their national championship, right? I mean, small,
but
the deal is, listen, that's expected, guys. You go to Notre Dame, it's a lot of teams Super Bowls, and especially when you're playing teams like NIU, who Notre Dame paid $1.4 million to play, Army and Navy. Who do you think they're circling on the schedule every year? That game.
I will tell you, as I was shooting film of them running back into the locker room before the game starts. How the opposing team runs back into the skinny locker room and then comes back out of the tunnel. That NIU team was not scared at all. They were looking around, pointing, kind of doing their thing, hyping up. Like, they were prepared for that. And let's just not beat around the bush here. It's not like Notre Dame Stadium is Texas A&M.
What are you talking about? It's on some list of top 10 hardest places to play. I don't know who Notre Dame paid for that. It's like going to church on Sunday when you go to a game there.
And they invite you to go to church on Sunday during the game. So
it is kind of like going to Catholic Mass. You stand up when maybe a play happens that's good, and then you sit back down, and then maybe you stand back up, and you're going to have to go to church.
Well, certainly Michigan Stadium wasn't church. It was definitely an offensive show for one of the best teams in the country. I think my pick to win the national championship. Texas just came in and just basically rammed it down Michigan's throat, buddy. I mean, you could tell the loss of JJ, the loss of Coach Harbaugh.
No, I don't think Coach
that's
Harbaugh mattered.
Oh, jeez.
They lost a lot.
Yeah, they lost.
They did.
I mean, we talked about that. I mean, the offensive line. There's I think 4 of them are They're either freshmen, redshirt freshmen, or redshirt sophomores.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal, and I think you're seeing that. With Donovan Edwards. I don't think they're utilizing him how they need to utilize him right now. Obviously he's supposed to be the key leader that was supposed to take over for Blake Corum, and
he's not even starting, right?
Say it again.
No,
he's not even starting.
Mullins is starting. I mean, obviously Loveland is like the only thing. You talk about a lackluster of offense. I mean, Loveland was the only guy. He had 8 receptions, 70 yards in that game, and the bottom line was Texas is one of the top 3, maybe 4 best teams in the country. In my opinion, right now in week 2, after what I watched, us get shellacked in the big house. Because I did call it shellac and scored. They owned us. I mean, we couldn't get anything going. We had no running. I don't want to throw all the blame on Davis Warren, because if you watch the game, he was 22 for 33, 24 yards, 1 TD. He had 2 interceptions, but our receivers couldn't catch a freaking egg that was thrown at him. I mean, he had some very accurate passes. I mean, I was sitting at B-Dubs, I was watching the game, and I'm like, catch the gosh dang football. I mean, it wasn't like he, and I think that's just where you're starting over. Last year, you had Morgan, who was fantastic. Who's my other wide receiver that I'm thinking of? Wilson. I mean, Wilson, that you could throw the rock wherever you needed to, and that guy caught everything. Michigan doesn't have that this year. And so I think we're trying to find a new identity, and it was very apparent Michigan was definitely not even near the level of caliber when you talk about a national championship team like Texas is going to be. I think Texas is going to be one of 2 teams in the finals.
I agree. And quickly, Evan, I do think that you're seeing the maturity in Texas. I think Quinn Ewers, I think Sarkisian, I think that team they are going to be in the national championship game. I mean, 100%. And I think they're a better team than Georgia.
I mean, that's why Ewers came back, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if it was so much Michigan being poor. I really think it was that
right.
Texas is just really good. I think this Michigan team from here, I think they have the ability to still have a pretty good season. They need
to figure out their quarterback situation.
They do. There needs to be some growth there. This is a prime example, guys, of when you have a multi-year starter at quarterback, leaves a void in college football. We compare it to the NFL. There's not that turnover unless there's injury. So there's consistency a lot of times at that position. So, that clearly was a major factor and reason in why Michigan was successful and won the national championship last year. Is what McCarthy started 3 years. You don't see that a ton in college football now, right?
Not now.
And so to your point, the maturity level of a guy like Quinn Ewers on Texas, that matters, guys. It does.
Mm-hmm.
It matters at the college level. Consistent voice, consistent leadership. So there needs to be, I think, for Michigan, a clear understanding, right? Who's our guy? Who are we going to kind of set sail with?
Yep.
And then he needs to really kind of fill those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's defense, I think, is still good.
Yeah.
But when your offense is struggling, it puts a lot of pressure on you to perform for 4 quarters against a lot of weapons. I mean, you look at who Texas was running out there. I mean, they graduated some wide receivers, but they brought in a transfer from, I think, Alabama and Mississippi State. So clearly, I mean, it's reloaded. It's like, hey, let's start working the phones in the off season, and who can we bring in for a year and make a run? And that's what they're doing.
All right, let's get to some of our quick hitters because I want to talk about some of the beer you guys are drinking after we take a short break. But let's get to some quick hitters first. Colorado, that bad, or is Nebraska back? Gentlemen?
I'm going to say Nebraska's back, but, Mahomes Jr. is pretty good.
I mean, literally, the entire Mahomes repertoire, from the warm-up to the haircut to the...
He does the whole thing. He moves the same, but it's a great example of... Is he a redshirt freshman?
Yeah.
Again, you're gonna see a guy be a 3-year starter, and matters. But that's the separator for me in college football. Is if you land a stud quarterback who separates himself from the juniors and seniors on the team and can go in and make plays the way he did, it's big time. I don't know, man. The tough part for me still is, and Aaron can attest to this, and watching Big Ten football every week, is it's a tough conference.
Tense stuff.
But so I'm not prepared to say that Nebraska's back yet, but I think that they are a team to be keep an eye on for sure.
All right, Wisconsin versus Alabama this week at Camp Randall. Maybe the biggest Wisconsin game since 1994 against Ohio State. If you guys remember that one where they tied 14-14 and Wisconsin went to their first Rose Bowl in however many years. But Wisconsin plays an SEC team for the first time in forever during the regular season. Do they stand a chance against Alabama and Jaden Milroe?
The first question I have is, Vahid, have you been listening to House of Pain all week? Because, I don't know. That's what's going to have to get this thing going anyways, right?
Yes. Well, listen, Paxton and I were listening to House of Pain.
Bill's gotta love House of Pain.
Man, baby, it is the place to be. But depending on our situation, I might be watching it on TV. So I don't know. But
I think the Alabama. I think Alabama's good this year. I think that they're showcasing. You look at last year; they were still a good team, even though Michigan beat them. I don't think Alabama's lost anything. Let's not put them out of the race talk for making a run at this thing here when we get to the finals. And I think Wisconsin is going to be it'll be a big challenge for them. I'm sure Evan's going to be wearing his Bama T-shirt that he normally wears. Yeah,
the crop top
that he's got. Yeah,
I think it's like up to here now.
If you Google it, I think it's on like Google searches now. It listed the top 3 best photos of Evan Sharpley. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting challenge. I mean, Alabama's good, and I think they've kind of reloaded. They're a little pissed off, maybe playing with a chip on their shoulders, and I think that's going to be, again, that's a tough one. I don't know did anybody know what the spread is on that one?
It's 16.5.
16.5. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be.
I was a little surprised, to be honest. I mean, that's.
I think that's going to be an uphill.
I think it's going to be closer than that.
You think so? All right.
I don't know. Wisconsin's quarterback situation. I mean, listen, all the love in the world for their quarterback. I've seen play a couple times, but I don't. Jaden Milroe is all world. I mean,
The thing is, which Jaden Milroe is going to show up?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, Wisconsin, again, the Big Ten is tough no matter what. That's why I'm worried about Purdue. Big Ten is tough.
Purdue is pretty good. Yeah, Purdue, what they put 49 up?
Yeah, Big Ten is tough. They're always tough. They make things messy. All right, let's switch gears. Detroit Lions and the NFC North. Detroit, lucky to be 1-0, or?
Listen, it was Sunday, so I had to not drink Pinot Grigio before noon. So I had a couple vodka to start the morning, but I was able to conjure it up and stay into overtime, make it through. Aiden was texting me late in the evening, going, "Papa, you up?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got one eye open on the couch." You know what? Lions showed grit in the game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It was a tough game. You knew it was going to be. I think LA's probably got a little bit of chip on their shoulder from last year and losing in the playoff game, but I don't think that it didn't prove what the Lions are. The Lions are a freaking great football game, and we're what now? 16, 17, 18 games away now from going to the Super Bowl? Evan, are you excited? I mean,
jeez.
Because I'm telling you, listen, to overcome the things that happen, I mean, yeah, there's always luck. Anytime you're a championship team, right, you're always going to have a game that's going to be tight, right? And you're going to win something. There's going to be a bad call. But the Lions showed J-Mo Williams, who's the wide receiver. Everybody's kind of crap about Williams about, being injured all the time. Sounds like he's got a little ankle twist. I mean, the dude had his best year with the best game that he's been there with almost 3 years. He's kind of injury prone. Blew out his knee in the national championship. Finally showed up, caught some big plays. There's a lot of talent on the Lions, and I think it's young talent.
Well, buddy, let me just remind you, as somebody who has a cheese on his head, you are one injury away from a disaster season. And we paid Jordan Love. I told you guys last year, I'm still not 100% sold. Jordan Love gets injured. Packers now, we're going with Malik Willis, possibly. Doesn't know the offense.
Somebody said that Love came out and said, "Yeah, he might be back."
I don't know. It's going to be an uphill battle there. But the NFC North is much improved. Evan, after watching one game against, I don't know, I would call it subpar competition. Do you think the Bears are for real? Do you think Williams is for real?
Still not sold. And we went through and ran down their schedule. I mean, there's not a ton of challenges. I'm still sticking to what I've said. You look at his stat line for the game, and they still won. You play a team that has a good defense and average offense, and it's not going to be the same case. So we'll see. But for this week, at least, Bears fans are happy because they got a dub.
Yeah. And final question here before we take a short break, come back and talk about Brewski. Does Patrick Mahomes win more or less than 7 Super Bowl titles?
How old is he right now? 28?
28, I think. Yeah, 28, 29.
Yes. What did you guys say? Sorry, you kind of cut out here a second, but what did you say?
I think we're
How,
back.
how old is he? He's 28, 29.
28.
And how many does he have now?
He has 3, I believe.
He's going to get close.
I mean,
It all comes down, obviously, is keeping the players together. But it seems like every year they draft well and they're able to. When you have players that are in it to win like that, in terms of like contract and understanding that part of it, it matters. Tom Brady was a good example of that in terms of, taking some pay cuts and maybe just ramping up what he's doing in the offseason for paid gigs. But, and it seems like Mahomes is kind of following that same model.
yeah.
You can say the same for Dak Prescott, right? But you can for Mahomes. And if
Dallas played pretty well, buddy. Dallas played pretty well. I'm just telling you.
I want you to know this, Vahid. I'm going to go on the record and say Dallas is never going to win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. That was a bad contract. That's my opinion. Good football player, good quarterback. Never is going to win the Super Bowl. Ever.
Would you take Dak Prescott to lead the Detroit Lions?
No.
You think
I mean,
that
listen,
your
I'm
quarterback is
saying
better
no.
than Dak Prescott? You think your quarterback's better than Dak Prescott?
I like golf. I mean, listen, golf's a first-round draft pick.
No way.
He
No
said,
way.
No way? Evan's like, Evan might be with you. I don't think Dak's the guy to win it. That's what I said. Pay a guy 60 million for 4 years? Yeah, 60 times, that's 240, right? I'm doing my math right after a couple of faithfulies. No way. No, he's not going to win it. But you know what?
We'll see.
Here's what I honestly think. Jerry Jones is a business guy. I don't necessarily know that he's not in it to win it. You know what he's in? He's in to have butts and seats. Because guess what? It's America's team. It's a brand. They're selling football. And guess what? People show up, and the Dallas Cowboys every year are competitive, and they make it through the playoffs. They lose the first playoff, and Dak doesn't get it done. But at the same time,
Okay, can I ask you a question?
yes.
Jeffrey Bean. What do I call him? Jeffrey Bean? Jeffrey Goff? What's his name? Jeffrey Bean. Okay, listen.
Yeah, Jared. Wrong guy.
Jared Goff.
You know what?
Okay.
there's only one out.
I'm just going to name some quarterbacks. Are you ready? Better or worse than Jared Goff? Jordan Love.
Worse. Who's worse?
CJ Stroud.
Who's worse?
I'm saying Jordan Love is worse than Goff.
Okay.
Do you agree?
I was just
You agree?
Yeah, I mean you.
Okay, well, you got to say agree or disagree.
We played the stat game with Goff last year.
We did.
CJ Stroud.
Stroud's better.
I think that's a tough one. Stroud's pretty tough, buddy.
I mean, and too, like right now, their career,
You tried to.
if you had Stroud over Goff, I mean, you had Stroud.
You put Stroud on the Lions, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts.
Which is better?
Why you got to pick all these Alabama kids?
Aaron Rodgers.
I would say Goff over Rodgers. Not that Rodgers isn't a great quarterback, but just because he's an ancient dinosaur, buddy. Like, didn't they just discover like this new dinosaur thing that was found over in Eastern Steve? That's how I look. That's how I look at Aaron Rodgers, man.
Matt Stafford.
I keep Goff over.
Ooh, see?
I keep Goff over Rodgers right now.
Goff over Stafford.
Stafford's a hell of a quarterback, man.
I think Stafford's better.
He is. He showed it in that game. Stafford had a better game than Goff did.
Justin Herbert.
When I won a championship with the WestWind Brewers in my fantasy league, I like Justin Herbert. He's good. And he is good. And you know what? He looks solid with Harbaugh coaching him. So I don't know. Listen, I would trade Herbert for Goff.
All day, Josh Allen. Not even close.
Joe Burrow.
Burrow's a prima donna. That guy's like a Tiger King of like football.
All right, let's get to the others. Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence is horrible. Goff's a better quarterback.
I would take Lawrence.
Do you think Lawrence? Really?
Again, at the stage, right now, stages of career,
Yeah, he's
Brock Purdy.
in the league.
Brock Purdy, Goff.
Agree.
And I think both
Tua-
teams will be doing that.
Purdy's a product of his system.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Even though Tua's good, Goff, he's better fitted for the system.
Cousins.
Goff.
100%. Screw the Michigan Spartans.
Kyler Murray.
Goff.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
I'm going Goff there too. I don't think Baker Mayfield's good.
Derek Carr.
Hold on. He's playing good. I know.
Have you seen the side-by-side since
Yeah.
you look at Watson's stats and Baker's stats since the change? It's unreal.
He's setting these like golf balls on a tee for us to swing at.
Anthony Richardson.
Goff.
Yep, agreed.
And I think that's going to be it. I mean, in the preseason ranking, he was 16 out of 32, Goff was, right in the middle.
Season doesn't this is preseason stats or just rankings?
Just rankings, yeah.
I think that's probably accurate.
Buddy, I can tell you want to put him up in the top 10, buddy.
Oh, there's probably 15 quarterbacks better than him.
We talked about this last year. I can't remember what we said. Do we think that the ex-Bears quarterback who plays on Pittsburgh now is better? I do too.
Yeah, if we talk about it, I remember you guys saying that, Justin Fields. I mean,
Yeah, Justin Fields.
have they announced if Fields is going to play over Russell Wilson yet? I mean, I know
Might be a couple weeks.
couple weeks we're going to see it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air. I mean, I think Fields, again, from a youth standpoint, he's probably a better investment. I mean, we have so much youth on the Lions that I think having a guy like Goff is promising in the fact that you got a guy that's a proven winner. The guy has won some big games. He's won a Super Bowl, right?
No,
No, he didn't win a Super Bowl with the Rams. Are you sure? Well,
no, they lost 10-6 or whatever to the Patriots.
You think you got a
13
guy
13-6. 13-6.
and knows the game? I mean, you got to have a couple veterans in key positions. I don't know. I wouldn't take Russell Wilson over. I was surprised you didn't mention Russell Wilson. I think Goff's better than Russell Wilson.
I
You
think
agree?
Russell Wilson is a better. How do I put this? Currently, Russell Wilson is not a better quarterback because Russell Wilson doesn't care about football. But I think in general, Russell Wilson will go down as a better quarterback than Jared Goff when all said and done, if
What
that
if
makes
the
sense.
Lions win the Super Bowl with Jared Goff? Would you make that comment and that we're there with gin and tonics?
I view, and don't take offense to this,
I would.
I view Jared Goff as a Eli Manning type.
That's fair.
I think Jared Goff is, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Jared
Hey,
Goff.
is
I
Eli
don't think he
Manning
can
going to
move.
make
I
it to
don't
the
think he's
Hall
a
of
great
Fame?
athlete.
Hey, were you really? Yeah, listen, we got a
What?
vibe going on. We're sitting so
What?
close trying to get in the camera.
What?
Will Eli be a Hall of Famer? That's what we want to know. What is your opinion on that? Yes. You're saying that
If you win 2 Super Bowls, you're in the Hall of Fame. He led one of the greatest comebacks of all time. Against a 17-0 team.
So
He beat
Wilson
a
a Hall of
17-0
Famer?
team twice. Yes.
Really? You think that? I don't think so.
Yes. No, you don't think so?
I don't think so. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Brock Purdy, if he wins a Super Bowl, is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh. He's got to win at least 2. I think we just said that, right? 2. Got to win 2. 2 gets you a Hall of Fame. I mean, because a lot of people don't get 1. Hey, how many did Elway have?
Dan Marino's in the Hall. 0. No, 2.
He had 2, right?
2. Dan Marino.
Yeah, but Dan Marino
0.
threw for a zillion yards.
I don't know.
Imagine how bad the Dolphins would have been if he wasn't on their team.
He's kind of like who was the old gunslinger on the Chargers a couple years ago? Guy from Texas Tech. Who was that guy?
Manziel?
No, he was Johnny Manziel. Who's the guy, the tall quarterback? He's a high school football coach now, but he used to play for the Chargers for a long time.
Hey, Leaf?
Ah,
You get out 2 quarterbacks.
hold on. San Diego Chargers ex quarterback. Oh, Philip Rivers.
Oh, Philip Rivers. Yeah.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
To NC State. Do you think Philip
NC
Rivers is
State,
better
right.
than Philip?
I mean, Philip Rivers is retired, so I don't. But do I think he's better? Boy, Philip
That's a
Rivers
good
used to
comp
sling
right
it
there.
all
That is
over
a
the
good comp,
yard,
'cause
man.
those guys are
And
similar.
he,
They are similar, right? They never really won like big things, but were still good quarterbacks in their systems. Hey, there you go. That's a tough one. Right back at you, Vahid.
Drew Brees, Hall of Famer,
Yes. Yeah, Vahid, yeah.
won Super Bowl, right?
He's a stud. Most touchdown passes in NFL history, right?
Did he surpass
I think
Ryan Leaf, Hall of Famer? Just kidding. All right, guys, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, we're empty because we didn't take a break yet. We're getting parts over here. All we're doing is talking. We were sipping on a little faithfully, so sounds like we need a little faithful around the world right now.
What do you got coming out here, buddy?
Yeah, we got some fun stuff coming down. I think next week, I think we're on target. I think we might have mentioned it, but we are doing our first ever Oktoberfest beer. I'm gonna see if I pronounce it right. Labat für Herbst. It is an ale, so it's used German hops, but so we're excited about that. We're gonna have a little special segment coming out with some release on that, so that's right around the corner. Got a new ice delay coming, little black cherry vanilla. So hopefully when Baby Bill's done messing around, and Heather gets to try a little bit of that. And then we're working on. We've got several variants with Mr. We got several variants of Mr. Flubbles coming down the pipeline, and I just ordered some ingredients to brew regular Mr. Flubbles because people are bugging the crap out of me as we get into fall season. Some beers are coming down. Changes directory, our Baltic Porter's on tap again, so people are excited that's kind of the changing of the guards in beer world, where we start transitioning from lighter, fruity summer beers to darker beers.
Well, I'm excited to be joining you gentlemen again live. If you haven't figured it out, I'm in a hospital room. I have broadcast live from a lot of different places. Never in a hospital room, though. So this is a first for a podcast. We're just awaiting Baby Bill's arrival here, maybe next week, we're hoping. So
You were hoping that you were going to actually have a scrub on or something, Should have.
I will not be coming to you from the OR, if that's what you're... But everybody's doing good. And, Just hoping for the best here.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. Anything else for the good of the order? We got to make our picks, I guess. Notre Dame at Purdue. Who you got? Oh boy, he's struggling.
Notre Dame is 9.5-point favorites.
I'll take
I
the
think that
points.
is like super generous.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Purdue in that regard. I might take.
This isn't my pick for their second loss.
You think? Are you going back to 3 losses?
You know me. I don't know if I can flip flop. I'm gonna stick with
Yeah,
still.
I think you had 2. Yeah, I think you had 2 losses.
But man,
You got Purdue or Notre Dame?
I got Purdue losing, winning this game by 2 touchdowns. They're gonna beat Notre Dame by 2 touchdowns. 14 points. Buddy.
What?
Sure. Yep. After what I watched, I'm telling you, Purdue's only played one game because they didn't play last week, I believe. And I'm telling you what, Irish are gonna lose by 2 touchdowns. That's my prediction.
Whoa, I don't even know what to say to that. I don't have a good feeling for this weekend. I think last weekend was a bit of a shell shock. And you're going to see it in the first quarter. Do they come out flat? What happens? It's a game of adjustments. But I do think Notre Dame gets it done. I think they win by a touchdown. I think they have to win this game. This is a must win. I mean, there's no other choice, right? It's a must win. I think they do win.
Can we just play the scenario if they do?
Oh God,
Man.
I want to leave South Bend for a couple weeks if they don't. And we have a show next week. Can you imagine that?
Oh boy.
What will be standing room only though is Marcus Freeman's presser on Monday morning if they do lose. So watch out. It's not out of the question. You got to come to play every week, and they have a Big Ten opponent this week. So I mean, listen, crazier things have happened. Michigan versus Arkansas State.
Michigan, all that. Yeah, I think Michigan comes back. I think that they make some adjustments. Yeah, I got Michigan winning that game.
Wisconsin hosting the Crimson Tide.
Got Bama. Roll Tide by 3 touchdowns.
I'm not picking against the Badgers. Let's go Wisconsin Badgers. Let's go.
Die.
I got my Tyler Van Dyke guy at quarterback, and maybe Malusi runs for like 150 to 200 yards this weekend. Let's go.
Yeah.
I got the Badgers pulling out one of the biggest wins of the season. Who do the Detroit Lions play, my friend?
It doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
17-0. He's gonna say 17-0.
Doesn't matter who they got. We're going to the Super Bowl.
17-0. 17-0. 19-0.
They're playing
Told you.
Tampa Bay.
Listen.
Versus Tampa Bay, baby. What? Detroit versus everybody. Detroit versus everybody. Ooh, Tampa Bay.
They play Tampa Bay?
That'll be a tough matchup. Where is that game? I think it might be. If it's in Florida, I'm picking Tampa Bay. Are you really? Let me look it up.
Wait, Buffalo won tonight? No, is that last week or tonight? It's tonight, 24-10. It's halftime. Buffalo over Miami Dolphins.
That means Josh Allen probably has 3 touchdowns.
Yep. Okay, who do we got here? It is Colts at the Packers. Buccaneers at Lions.
Okay, I'll pick Detroit. Yeah, Detroit's going to win that. Bills are playing Dolphins.
Yep.
Josh
How about
Allen
the Bengals at the Chiefs?
13, 180 yards and a touchdown.
Packers host the Colts. Who else we have in college football this week?
Colts are going to win that game. Colts looked good last week, man.
Yep. Who else do we have this week? UTSA at Texas, Georgia at Kentucky, Nebraska hosts Northern Iowa.
Chiefs Bengals will be a good game.
Chief Bengals. Yep, that's going to be a good one. All right, gentlemen. I think it's past the visiting hours here at the hospital, so they're kicking me out.
Nice.
All right. Well, this has been a riveting Varsity Brews podcast. I'm going to be with you guys in a couple weeks. I can't wait. We're going to have a celebratory beer.
Yep.
Drinking the Starbucks right now. We're brought to you by WestWind Brewery, Rustic Rocks, and Legacy Performance. Gentlemen, I hope I'm not talking to you next week saying Notre Dame's 1-2.
Already 1-2.
If they lose this game, they'll be 1-5. It'll be tough.
Cancel the season. Cancel the season.
Cancel it all.
DJ
All
Carl.
right, gentlemen.
Only game. Yep. 100%.
All right, gentlemen. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.